What's up, everybody? Today I want to play you a clip from earlier today's Gary Null show that I just have to share. For those of you who don't know, real quick, Gary Null, he has a radio show for years, decades now. He does holistic healing and basically just all natural things, to help you live longer and stuff like that. And I've always liked him. I've been listening to him on and off since the late 90s. Now, I don't really know his political leanings, but if I had to guess, I would say they're fairly progressive, which is why this clip just blew me away. Now I find his clips on YouTube, but the last time I really remember listening to him on the radio was on a radio station called WBAI, which is an extremely left-wing, listener-funded radio station in New York. I'm a lifelong musician. It's a very creative station. It's very much with the arts and stuff. So, I get a kick out of that. And going to their anti-right-wing stuff. And this is long before Trump. I used to really listen to this a lot. I would have to just tune it out. It's just so annoying. But, anytime anyone who's into the arts or considers themselves an artist, that world is extremely hateful towards conservatives. There's a lot of bullying going on. But it is what it is. So now, anyway, today on Gary Null's show, he plays a clip. He's going to first play a clip of two former extremely high up members of the NSA. And the guy breaks down who they are first before they start talking. And then after it, he starts commenting on what they're saying and even breaking down Spygate. And then he says something very interesting at the end that I think you'll like. It's a little long, but trust me, you're going to want to hear this.
And finally, from the University of Connecticut, walnuts alter your gut microbiome for the best. This is published in Cancer Prevention Research. So, according to University of Connecticut, eating walnuts will change your gut bacteria in a way that suppresses colon cancer. How about that? That's terrific news. And that's the latest on health and healing. I'm Gary Null. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go directly into an audio discussion, and you have two of the most important whistleblowers in American history, both from the National Security Agency, and I'll explain what they're talking about and why it's so important we know this. At least this audience know it. Back in a moment. Please stay with us.
I want to give you a little background on Bill and Kirk to set the stage. Because when I make the statement that I know of two people that have more expertise in surveillance systems in the world, that is not an overstatement. Here are their backgrounds. Bill Binney is a former highly placed intelligence official with the United States National Security Agency. Bill turned whistleblower and paid a huge price and resigned on October 31st, 2001 after more than 30 years with the agency. He was a high-profile critic of his former employers during the George W. Bush administration. Bill continued to speak out during Barack Obama's presidency about the NSA's data collection policies and continues to give interviews regarding his experiences and his views on interception of communication of American citizens by governmental agencies. Kirk Wiebe, together with colleagues Bill Binney, Diane Rourke, and Ed Loomis, blew the whistle on NSA mismanagement and waste of billions of dollars in a complaint to the Department of Defense Inspector General. You can imagine how well that went over. Unable to stay at the NSA any longer in good conscience, Kirk, along with colleagues Bill Binney and Ed Loomis, retired in October 2001. Since retiring, Kirk has made several key public disclosures regarding NSA's massive surveillance program, subverting the U.S. Constitution. It is my honor to introduce my friends Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe. Bill and Kirk, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, let's go right at it, guys. Hard and fast. That's how we work.
All right.
Mueller, his report. He just had a encore performance. His 10-minute, he was kind of sweating, looked kind of nervous. His 10-minute podium presentation. I'm not testifying, but let me tell you what's going on here. He started off his 10-minute presentation with the fact that this, I believe, false narrative that the Russians hacked into computer systems at the DNC, and it set off this cavalcade of situations where he had to investigate about the Trump colluding with the Russians about this hack. My question to both of you, am I wrong when I say that that's a false narrative, that in fact it was not a hack, that the information that was eventually obtained by WikiLeaks and published were not from a hack event, but from a leak, an internal leak event. Bill and Kirk.
Yeah, yes, yeah. In fact, but I don't call it a false. I call it a lie.
Okay.
Basic lie. Yes, they're making that lie up, and we can forensically prove that the published DNC emails by WikiLeaks were downloaded to a physical device and transported prior to them posting it. So that's what we can prove, and I have an affidavit in a court of law in the Roger Stone case stating that, and I'm prepared to testify in court to that and show the proof to it there in court.
Kirk?
Yeah, I agree exactly with what Bill has just said. Either Mueller and his people are not as sharp as public authorities say they are, or the agencies are lying. And I think the latter is true.
Yep.
And they're lying because why?
They don't want sources and methods revealed. They don't want things revealed that could incriminate themselves, information that they have. You know, there's a whole cloud of dust and a mystery behind this question. Who, if they were downloaded, these emails were downloaded to a storage device,
Yes.
who did it?
Okay. Who do you believe did
How
it?
they get over to the WikiLeaks?
Who,
That involves names like Seth Rich, possibly.
So people say that
Dave, I had one other reason.
Fire ahead, Bill.
The other reason is Mueller and the Democrats wanted to keep this issue going to 2020 election. Use it as an argument in the 2020 election. So they had to find a reason to do that, and Mueller was a part of that, making that reason, and so they could continue it.
Well, it worked pretty well in the 2018 midterms, right?
Yeah,
They got the House back.
That's right.
Yep.
Now, when you mention Seth Rich, people start outside that window in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, where I live. You know, Dave, that's Seth Rich stuff. That's conspiracy theory. And the fact that Seth Rich would have downloaded that information and then gotten it to Julian Assange is beyond conspiracy theory. It's lunacy. What do you guys feel about it? You're the experts.
All right, why is this important, what you just heard? Let me break it down for you. I have looked at this very carefully. I've also spoken with people like Ray McGovern, who was a top CIA analyst and was a part of the president's daily briefing, meaning he would take all the information that the top directors and department heads of the CIA collected, analyze them, and then give a brief on each one to the president's national security advisors. He is a member of a group. I'm not sure the total number. I believe that there were somewhere between 9 and 12 members of this group. They all come from the national security agencies, like the National Security Agency or the CIA, for example. And here's what they did. They took a look at the claims that the Russians had hacked Hillary Clinton's files and also had hacked the Democratic National Committee's files. But their expertise, which is second to none, especially William Binney, they said that it couldn't be possible. With the amount of information that was downloaded, there always is a track, or there's a second tier. There's what the public knows is being done, or suspects is being done in the public interest to protect us, and then there are all these black ops, meaning a secret operation on a need-to-know basis that is occurring simultaneously where people in the agency generally are not even aware of it. And they do this because they don't want a trail. Because anything you enter into a computer, you've just created a trail. And these people know because they're the ones who created the system. So here's what they came up with. They said that it was not possible that the Russians hacked any of this. But instead, it was a former person working within the Democratic National committee, and he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and he saw how, from the inside, Hillary Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the others were working, colluding to prevent Bernie Sanders from getting the nomination as the Democratic selection to run for president. And by the way, all the studies show that had Bernie Sanders ran against Donald Trump, he would have won handily. Now, then how did they get that information? How did they get thousands, tens of thousands of emails of Hillary Clinton? It came from a man named Seth Rich. Seth Rich was murdered. He was supposed to be robbed, but his jewelry was there, his watch, a ring, he had money. So that's nonsense that he was robbed. He was killed. But he had already handed off this information to the former ambassador to Great Britain, Binney Murray, who confirmed that, yes, he received the information directly from Seth Rich in the university, I believe it was American University Park, right across from it. He then got it in the hands of Julian Assange. There was one other person who also participated, and that's why Julian Assange, right after the murder, for the first time in WikiLeaks history, offered a reward of some $20,000 for any information leading to this. Why would he offer $20,000 to a complete stranger? Well, because he wasn't a complete stranger. He was the one supplying the information to WikiLeaks. Now, if you look at all the different information that was released, for example, there were cables showing that Hillary Clinton was strong-arming allies around the world to take genetically engineered crops. She also was looking for dirt on anyone associated with the UN from every nation. They were trying to spy on everyone at the UN. Also, she had met on at least 40, I believe it was 44 separate occasions with different countries and getting them to sign on to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was done in secret, that would have destroyed American labor and unions. And she knew that. And that's why it was never to be open to the public, and its information was always to be opaque, never transparent. Those are just some of the things. Also, all of her behind-the-scenes dealing with Russia as far as getting nuclear materials to Russia. In return, the Clinton Foundation I believe received over $120 million. Plus, suddenly Bill Clinton got a $5 million lecture gig in Moscow. None of that would have happened without the Clintons and Mueller and Comey all being aware of it. None of that has been investigated. So here is what Binney is saying. Here's what other intelligence chiefs or people within the intelligence agency are saying, that we had a coup in the United States. We had a major coup. And we had the coup because the people who all supported Hillary Clinton, and I mean everybody supported Hillary Clinton who was in power, the major corporations, the major media, all the major governmental agencies, the intelligence agencies, the military-industrial complex, big pharma, banking, agricultural, they all supported her because they knew that Bill and Hillary Clinton were the enablers of unmitigated greed. So they wanted her. And had she been elected, imagine the probabilities of what could have happened. Israel could have been given the go-ahead to start a nuclear conflict or a major conflict with Iran. We would have had the complete destruction of Syria. We already saw what she did with Gaddafi in Libya and Honduras, the coup there, and Ukrainian bringing the people in with a coup to bring the fascists and the neo-Nazis in. So we would be in a bad position, but the media wouldn't talk about it. It would seem like everything would be normal. Trump, they couldn't control. And as a result, they had to make sure that they disqualified him. And so they put together a dossier, and it was called the Steel Dossier. And Steel was this former British intelligence agent. Now, he was being paid by the FBI. He was being paid by a Fusion GPS, which was a Fusion, which is a company that gets dirt on other companies or people, and by the Democratic people around Clinton. So he was making a lot of money to put together what amounted to a false dossier. It did not come from Russia. There was no collusion. But they had to make it seem like it did. So all their energy, all their effort, all their capital, as far as their credibility, was put into get rid of Trump. He was elected under false pretenses, and they were going to do this prior to the election. They wanted to get this dossier out. So Clapper and Brennan, the head of the CIA, Brennan, and head of the National Security Agency, Clapper, got with other intelligence chiefs, and they all, 17 agencies, signed off, say, yes, there was probable collusion. But there was no collusion. None. None at all. And so, who did they choose? They chose one of the political insiders. You see, if you understand that Washington, D.C., once you're an insider, once you've been shown by loyalty that you're going to protect those in positions of power, and you're going to cooperate. It's not about Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal. It's about power and money. So this is why they never have to work outside of that circle. For example, where has Eric Holder worked? Where did the Clintons work? Where did they make their money? Mueller, where did he work? They all work for companies, law firms, consulting firms, military contractors. They all are guaranteed play ball, and you're going to have all that you want for the rest of your life. And that's how it works. And that's why it's so easy for people going to be a procurement officer at the Pentagon into making a huge salary working for a military industrial contractor. And just in the military industrial contracting field alone, there are over 200,000 contractors. So it's a big field with hundreds of billions of dollars a year being made just in that field. The same is true with the pharmaceutical industry. So, when all these different industries want you as president, it's not because they like your personality or they like your politics. They like the fact that you are dependable, and they're going to continue to make money because you're going to continue to guide the policymakers, the technocrats who run the agencies, and all the Council of Economic Advisors. All of these people are all part of it. The Free Enterprise Institute, the Business Roundtable, the Council on Foreign Relations, they're all aware of each other. And they could care less what your politics are. It's irrelevant. That's just a game that's played for the people. So, they didn't work in their coup. They tried. They wasted almost 3 years. Instead of focusing on important policy that would help people, they did everything humanly possible to keep Trump from being elected, then to denigrate the people who voted for him, even though a lot of those were unionists and people who were card-carrying Democrats and liberals for decades who had been betrayed by Clintons and Obama. And so a lot of the people voted for him out of protest. But in any case, it was a coup. It was an illegal effort. It was sedition. And now it's coming undone. So Binney is telling us how it was not possible that the Russians did this. The people did this themselves. So we've been lied to, we've been manipulated. And that's why that's important you understand. Now, over the next month or two, my sources tell me we're going to start to see indictments. We're going to see people going before grand juries. And a lot of the people who've been the biggest mouthpieces out there are not. And historically, the liberals would never invite the former head of the CIA, the National Security Agency, or Homeland Security to be a commentator. They would be extremely biased. But that's exactly who they did. And also there were a lot of crimes broken, a lot of crimes committed. For example, laws were broken, crimes were committed. For example, leaking information, classified information. That was Comey, that was Clapper, and that was Brennan, to the media. So they're all they're all being targeted now for investigation. So we'll see all this unfold in the near future. That's why that was so important.
So there you have it. Here's a guy that I would never expect to talk about any of this, let alone the extremely precise breakdown he just gave that I agree with wholeheartedly. And he's saying that he hears there's going to be prosecutions and trials. So there you go. The message is out. It's happening. I personally think it's naive to think there would be these huge moves. People are like, oh, nothing's happening. First of all, little things are happening. Not even so little. Things are happening every day for the past couple of years. I mean, there's people, they have like a short list of like 5 of the most powerful people on earth. And unless they're like arrested and disgraced, they're not going to be happy. And I'm telling you, man, first of all, you can't. Everyone out there, all the left, oh, Trump, oh, he's a fascist dictator. And now he's showing them, no, I'm not. I'm just a regular guy who wants to be the first real president in a long time and show you how fake all these people are and how none of them care about you. And there's people who are finally starting to wake up and be like, you know what, this guy ain't so bad. What do you think those people who are just freshly turned over are going to do if they all of a sudden arrest Obama or execute him or something? It's just too risky. He has to win 2020. Every president does their most damage when they're a lame duck president. You don't have to worry about getting reelected. I think that's why he's taken so long to declassify. I don't think, I think he wants it to still somewhat be fresh for the election. I don't think he wants to release it, have it be a buzz, and then go away. But of course, the bigger the things that happen, the sooner the better. I would be excited. I'm sure everyone would be excited. And it seems like big things are getting ready to happen. But whether they do or not, regular things are happening every day. People are being arrested every day. People on both sides, unfortunately, are being taken out every day. There is literally a revolution going on behind the scenes. And it's a revolution of information. And that's why I think it's important for us to all share our research, share the things, lift the veil for people. I see a lot of comments, I feel bad sometimes, like, oh my God, this seems so hopeless. That's not the point of me making these videos. It's not hopeless. It's hopeful, because once everyone knows what the deal is, who really runs the world, and why and how and what they're doing, that's it. Once everyone knows, it's over for them. The only power they have right now is that there's lemmings that still believe the garbage that they sell them and keep voting them into power. Once that's gone, they have no power. Once we get regular people back into the government, we can start tearing down all these thousands of garbage regulations and laws and things they've put in place just to control us. So to me, this is a really exciting time. I think it's awesome. The fact that I just heard Gary Null break down Spygate accurately, no less, is just awesome. And I had to share that with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed that. And I would suggest this show anyway. It's really good information on there. Where we go one, we go all.